Howdy friends, my name is Jerry and I'm here in front of the Utah State Capitol to talk to you about a great program from the Utah State Tax Commission. This program's been assisting Utahns for over 40 years now, and it's designed to help seniors, veterans, and people in need with a little bit of help towards their property taxes or their rental expenses. It's very important to a lot of people. In fact, last year, over 42,000 households in the state of Utah received assistance from this program. 42,000 households, not people. How many people would that represent? 50,000? 60,000? Maybe 80,000? Who knows? But what we do know is with rents and housing costs rising and property taxes going up, this program is more important than ever. So why am I here in front of the state capitol instead of in front of the State Tax Commission building? Because this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where the program gets funded. Every year during the budget reconciliation process, this program is reviewed and funded. Now there have been some incremental increases over the years, but the last few years there's actually been legislation proposed to greatly improve this program. And I'll go into that more at the end of this video. The program is called Circuit Breaker, and there's two parts to it, one for homeowners and one for renters. And though it is geared towards seniors, Utahns of various ages participate and get benefits from this program. For instance, on the homeowners program, the Circuit Breaker serves disabled people, including disabled veterans and their surviving spouses. Now the figures aren't in for 2022 yet, but for 2021, 24,436 households were helped by the Disabled Veterans Benefit of Circuit Breaker. Over 24,000 households just from that one program alone. There's also abatements for other reasons. There's an abatement for blind people, or if you're experiencing severe hardship, or if you're indigent. Some seniors who are 66 and older might qualify under the income guidelines. This year, the threshold is $38,369. So if your household income is less than that, you might want to look into seeing if you qualify. There's also a benefit for active duty military. And there's even a new deferral program that will serve a few people and could be of great value, but there's some complications with that. If you think you might qualify for the homeowners program through the Circuit Breaker, you need to contact the people that you pay your property taxes to, because they will be the ones to take your application and qualify you. Now, I'll be putting up some information on that real soon. Now, on the renters program, the basic qualifications for that is you need to be 66 by the end of last year, or an unmarried widow or widower of any age who is married to your spouse and living with them at the time of their passing. Now, what I might want to do before we get too far, I might want to suggest to you that you find out where the pause button is on this video and grab some pen and paper, because I'm going to be putting up some contact information for various agencies, and you may want to pause the video to jot it down. Now, the main reason for this video is to go over the Renter Refund program and to go over the application and show how to fill that out. It's very easy to do, but that's the main program I'm going to be covering. I'm only going to touch on the homeowners program a little bit. Why is that? Because with the renter program, you deal directly with the Utah State Tax Commission. But with the homeowners program, you will have to qualify through the people who you pay your property taxes to, so you'll be getting expert help from them as you qualify. So there you have it. Let's go over some of the forms you're going to need to participate in the Renter Refund program. One more thing before we get to the applications. This is from the Utah State Tax Commission. Now, on the application form, you're going to see a web address of tax.utah.gov. That's going to be to their home page. What you want to get to is the Circuit Breaker page to have everything here that you need to apply for Circuit Breaker. So how you do that? At this link right here, tax.utah.gov/relief/Circuit Breaker. And this is the page that will come up, and this is the only page you really need to access. And its links, of course. Now, this is the Circuit Breaker Renter Refund link. circuit breaker, low income abatement, and homeowners tax credit. This is publication 36 for the property tax abatement and deferral and the exemption programs. And this is the TAP program, the taxpayer access point, and this is where you would apply online. That's the fastest way to get your refund back, is to apply online, and it's really, really easy. But then again, take a look here at the left, same stuff, same links. Circuit breaker tax relief, renter refund, homeowners tax credit, apply online with TAP, and then the property tax abatement forms, the form for the renter refund, and the forms for the homeowners program. Alrighty, let's get down to the nitty-gritty with the renter refund application. Here's your form number right here, TC90CB for circuit breaker, and here's the phone number for the tax commission if you need to get the forms mailed to you, or if you have any questions on how to fill it out. Folks are extremely helpful. They also include some numbers for some of the more populous counties and their aging services offices, Davis, Salt Lake, Utah, and Washington County. But after seeing this video, you probably won't need to get help from them. In fact, they may actually link this video to their websites. Here's the website address I mentioned previously, and again, you're going to go /relief/circuit breaker, and that's the link that I provided to you. Go to that for all the information that you need. Now here's the application questions and such. We're going to go over this here in a minute as I go through these specific questions, but I did want to go over this residency status stipulation here. If you have an I-94 or an alien registration number, not quite a citizen yet, but you can still apply for the program. You just need to do it in person, and you can do that at the tax commission offices in Salt Lake City, Provo, Ogden, or Hurricane. Now you may have noticed this little nugget down in the bottom right-hand corner of the information sheet. This is the renter refund schedule, and this will give you an idea of the benefits available to you through the program. Now these are your income brackets. Depending on your income, you'll see where you're going to be. These are your maximum payouts, but that will depend on how much rent you paid. Now these figures here, they're pretty solid. So once you determine how much rent you paid during the year and figure out which bracket you're in, multiply that rent by the figure that's appropriate, and that will give you an idea of the benefit that you could receive. Now, when we talk about improving the program, these are the places where the program could be amended. In 2022, one representative proposed having this figure up at about $22,000, where more people would be getting the full 9.5% back on their renter refund. Last year's legislation had this maximum income figure at $50,000 instead of $38,369. Now, why would that be important? Well, in this day and age, we have a lot of families combining housing because of the housing shortage or because of seniors needing to be taken care of. And when a child moves in with the parents, that income is added to the household income. And sometimes when a child moves in with a parent, that will put them over the income threshold and disqualify them from the program. So by improving this maximum income amount, we may preclude some of those exclusions for the seniors that deserve help. Now this is page 2 of the application, and this is the household income worksheet. Now many of you will not have to do anything with this because this sheet is only if you have more than one income in your household. If it's just you, you do not have to do anything with this form. But if you have more than one income, here's how you fill it out. You put your name here for you and your spouse, social security number, and then any other people in the household would be in these columns here. These are the income sources, your wages, pensions maybe, or social security, railroad retirement, but not disability, of course. And then also like on government assistance given directly to you, if you're participating in the SNAP program, you do not need to count that money. And if you participate in the HEAT program, you do not need to report that as well. Now, who do you need to report? If you have someone living in your home and they are 17 and under, you do not have to report their income. But if they're 18 and older, you do, except if they are your parent or grandparent of you or your spouse. So, say we have a 50-year-old widow, the kids have moved out of the house, she decides to help the folks and let them move into her place. Well, she wouldn't have to report their income because that's her parents. So if it's the parents or grandparents of you or your spouse, you do not have to report that income. But anybody else 18 and over, you do. And this is where you'll put their income figures here. Right there, and then you will total all these up to this right side, and I will show you where to put this into the form, which is the next one that we will show. But all of these figures here are going to have to total up to less than $38,369. Now here's the first page that everybody has to do if they want to apply for the renter refund. The income worksheet is only if you have more than one income, but if you don't, you can ignore it. But these next two sheets, everybody has to do in order to participate in the program. Now, here's your form number, TC90CB for circuit breaker, of course. Last year's rent year, January 1st through December 31st, and you have until December 31st of this year to get your forms in. Alrighty, now this is for people who have rented either a home or an apartment or space for a manufactured home. And if you're applying for a lot rental for that, that box there would have to be checked. But do you qualify for a refund? Well, were you 66 or older on or before December 31st of 2022? And if you're not, are you an unmarried widow or widower who was married to your spouse and living with them at the time that they passed? If that's true, go ahead and hit the yes box on that one. Did you financially support yourself, or are you a dependent on somebody else's tax return? If you're a dependent on somebody else's tax return, you cannot get benefit from this program. But if you're not, go ahead and mark that box yes. Did you live in Utah all of 2022? Mark that box yes if that's true. And then how many people in your household received income last year? You'll know the number to put in here. Now, if you are applying as an unmarried widow or widower, you would fill out your information here, your birth date and your social security number, or if you already have a circuit breaker account number, put that in here. And then you would put your departed spouse's information in here with the date they passed away, and you will need to check this box. Then put in your street address, your city, state, zip, and very important, a daytime phone number. Because if the state has questions, they're going to want to call you to clear up the situation and make sure you get your refund. Now, here's where you're going to enter all of your income information right here. It's the same income source list that we saw on the income worksheet. And this is also where you'll transfer the numbers. If you did the worksheet and you had the numbers on the right-hand side that you totaled up, this is where you'll put them. And as I mentioned, $38,369 is the maximum income on that. Now, if you thought that was easy, wait till you see this. This is the second and last page of the application, and this is where you're going to enter your rental information. This is where you'll put in your address, landlord's name and phone number, how many months at that address last year. Of course, if you didn't move, that'll be a 12, right? And then total rent paid last year. If gas was included, you'll check that box. If electricity was included, you'll check that box. If you check one box, they'll deduct about 7%. If you check both boxes, they'll deduct about 13%. Now, on the total rent that was paid last year, you can only enter the information for the rent that you paid. So if you're on a housing subsidy, say your rent is normally about $1,000, but you only pay $400, you can only enter the $400 that you pay. And any other expenses, such as cable or storage, parking, pet fees, anything like that, you cannot include that, just the rent that you pay. Now, back to the residency status that we talked about a little bit earlier. If you're a citizen, just check that box and move along. And then if you're not and you need to check that box, you'll put in your I-94 number here or the alien registration number here, and you will have to take that form down to the tax commission offices in Salt Lake, Provo, Ogden, or Hurricane in order to apply for the program. After that, just sign the application. If you have a spouse, sign and date it here and mail it off to the tax commission, or you can apply online at the links that I showed you before. Now remember, you do not have to copy and submit your rental or income information, but you will want to keep it handy in case the tax commission calls and has some questions for you. You just need to file this 2-page form that we just went over and include the worksheet only if you had more than one income. And of course, you should make copies of all of this paperwork to keep with your rental and income information in case the state has questions. Now, another great thing about this program is after you file, next year the state will mail you the forms for the Renter Refund program for this year's income and rent. So if you move, make sure you update your address with them, but they usually mail the forms out in late April, early May. And you'll have until the end of the year, almost 8 full months to get your paperwork in. And here's an idea. While you're going through your records to file for last year, you may want to start organizing your papers for this year's figures, so when they mail the forms to you next May, you'll be ready to go and get your refund that much quicker. And again, all the information and links that I'm showing will be in the notes. Just click the word "more" under this video screen to see them. That's it. It's that easy. It's the Renter Refund program from the Utah State Tax Commission. Here's their phone number and web address. If you have any questions whatsoever, contact them, and I'm sure they'll be happy to help you. Now, before we leave the Capitol, I'd probably be remiss in not noting that in the last few years, legislation has been proposed up here on the Hill to greatly improve the circuit breaker program. Did it have support up here? Certainly did. In fact, both the House and Senate Revenue and Taxation Committees passed these bills out of committee both years. When it was proposed on the House of Representatives floor, it passed unanimously, 68-0, both years. But then it gets to the Senate, and it stalls, and it dies, and it doesn't get funded. And that was even in a year when Governor Cox mentioned that expanding circuit breaker was one of his budget priorities for 2023. So what I'd like you to do is to consider contacting your representatives and the governor's office, but especially your senators, because that's where this thing stalls. But I'm going to be putting up website addresses here where you can get the contact information for your representatives up here on the Hill. Please give them a call anytime during the year, but especially during the session, and especially to your senators. There will be a new bill proposed in 2024, and it would be great to improve this program and get it across the finish line this year. And you can help with simply a phone call. That's the circuit breaker video for 2023. Now, I will be posting this on YouTube under the headline of Utah Circuit Breaker 2023 Instructional Video. So if you go to YouTube and do a search for Utah Circuit Breaker 2023, you should be able to find it. Also, when I do get the web address for the YouTube link where it will be, I will include that in the notes for the video. Under the video screen, you'll see a little box that'll say show more. Well, I'll include that information, and then also include some more information on other counties throughout the state that people can contact to try and get some help with this program. But thank you for watching. I certainly hope that you or someone you know will be able to benefit from this great program from the state of Utah called Circuit Breaker. Circuit Breaker is a difference maker, and you can help make it stronger. Thank you.